Okay, I'm taking a little beating here during the break. Let's just be clear here. Now, when I say I might shoot someone in the back that breaks into the house, that's if it's dark and I don't see them and I don't know. But if you break into my house, and Jimmy, you know, I just talked to him, and he knows I have a Daisy BB gun. It's probably not going to do much damage.
What if Jimmy comes over to check
with
on
the black musket ball and the gun and all that? What if Jimmy comes? Oh, well, no, I would have to be certain that it is not a friend. But friends don't break into my house.
Well, you may be asleep and they come over to feed the dog or check on you, and all of a sudden you shoot them in the back, and then how are you going to feel?
I feel bad. I feel bad.
I mean, your airsoft gun's not going to do a lot of damage anyway.
No, it won't do much damage anyway. You, as always, are the voice of reason. I stand corrected.
Well, she asked what was the law.
I might just crawl under the bed and cower instead. I also have a little can of mace next to the bed that come in handy.
All right.
No. What do you have next to your bed? Would you have anything next to your bedstand? Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
9mm? Hollow points? Okay, here we go. Let's get back to the phone lines. Paul, good morning. What's on your mind, my friend?
Hey, good morning, Nick, and good morning to you, Sheriff.
Good morning, Paul. We need some sanity here. We've got Nick way
out of control.
Off the rail.
He's the voice of reason. Go ahead, Paul.
Well, I just got to say one quick comment, Nick, again, that you have absolutely, at his profession, sitting there next to you, one of the best at his profession in the entire country. And Nick, I'm not saying that just to say it. I have known hundreds of sheriffs across the country, and there's some nut job sheriffs. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. And there's some excellent ones, and you have one of the absolute best in the country right there next to you.
Well, thank you, Paul. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're lucky to have him here in Davidson County.
Commented to that poor old Donald Trump Cindy that called a while ago. Bless her heart. Look, as an old law enforcement man myself. Look, Cindy, if somebody kicks in your door and you sitting in your house, I'm like the sheriff. There are certain laws that you got to be careful about. But bottom line, if somebody kicks in your door in a hostile intent to do something, there's an old saying, Cindy, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. So you do what you got to do, and Cindy, that comes from a Democrat. Ain't that something, Cindy?
I got you.
My quick point to the sheriff. I just want to echo what he said, Nick. Look, I was a unit manager over 180 bed special housing unit one time, so the sheriff exactly knows what I'm being to say. Mental health in a jail setting like it is one of the worst problems in the jails and prisons in this country. It's deplorable what they've done to stop the funding and release all these people, and now people like the sheriff has to pick it up. I had an inmate, and I remember him. His name was John Weinstein, and he was just like the Rain Man, Nick. He wouldn't hurt nobody, but he was kind of special needs a little bit. But he couldn't remember what happened yesterday. But if you ask him what did Babe Ruth hit on July the 4th of 1922, he would tell you that he went 3 for 4, hit 2 hits, and struck out twice or something like that. He could tell it to you like that. Yeah. But dealing with him and dealing with the cost of special needs inmates like that was just astronomical. We had a place, Moccasin Bend, that we would send them to when they got really bad, and it would cost us thousands of dollars a day for those inmates. Yeah. The sheriff is right, and I hope and pray that he can get something done, because I know that's a big burden on his back and his department. And that's my comment, and thank y'all. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. It's very.
Well, I think he agrees. I mean, are other sheriff's departments that you've dealt with across the country then moving in the same direction? You say it's one of the primary topics of conversation for you guys.
I'll be honest with you, Nick. Memphis, Tennessee, for 20 years has done much better than Nashville and other places. Miami, Florida is doing some things. There's some work out in Colorado, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We're trying to do some creative planning right now because of the new design of the building. We believe we have a chance to kind of separate this problem upon entrance, which I think would be a really good step. It's the right time to try to do it. I'd like to fix it yesterday, but what we're trying to do is put all the things in the works, design the building so when we open the building up, you will no longer take a man off of a street sign out here, spend enormous amounts of money over the next 5 or 6 or 7 days, and tie up the court system, the probation system, us, everybody, housing, cost, and I think Nashville's a better place than that. I think we can do better, and I think the individual deserves better. I think the taxpayer deserves better, and we're going to work to make sure both of those happen.
It makes so much sense to me. It really does. Let's go to Tony. Hi, Tony.
Good morning, Nick.
Good morning.
Long time no hear.
Good morning, Tony. Good to hear from you.
Okay, hey, good morning to you. I wanted to get a dialogue with the sheriff on a couple of questions I really need answering.
All right.
First of all, if they'd have been raised of a different background, foreign or domestic, that guy on the bridge, he would have been handled totally different, knowing what the country is going through right now. They would have used the maximum force necessary, especially when it's happening in St. Louis, Chicago, and all these other big cities. And I know that for a fact. Once they found out he was different race, white, they handled it different.
You believe it would have been different if he was African American?
Yes, I do. And that's a fact. Look at the way they're doing now, how they're handling the streets. And the next thing I want to know, Sheriff, I've been at a lot of these meetings, Black Lives Matter, and church meetings with the chief of police and the mayor and all of them. I've never seen the sheriff or nobody in his staff in these meetings. And they handling majority of these people in this city that's got these violations. But they'd rather haul a lot of old drunken party people downtown to their own homes and residences instead of wasting taxpayers' money. And instead of just coming to these meetings trying to hammer things out, because the sheriff eventually, he could avoid it all he wants to politically. He's going to be involved.
Well, it is a little different, though. Remember, Tony, and maybe you can speak to that. I know you go to a lot of these events, and I know some of these he's talking about. Reverend Fuzz and others organize them, and oftentimes the chief comes, and maybe some of them you're not as suited for simply because you have different duties here than other sheriffs do. You want to respond to that?
Yeah, Tony, I'd love to talk to Tony about this. It was interesting. I was at the Martin Luther King March yesterday, and Black Lives Matter interrupted the parade. It was interesting, by the way, and there's a lot of conversations going on around this community. I go all over this town and talk about issues and try to meet with folks, and we'll continue to do that. I think I've been doing that for 14, 15 years in this job, and we'll continue to do it. I think it's important to note, I don't know if Tony knows this or not, but a lot of the issues, the reason the chief of police and the mayor, and just so you know, the police chief works for the mayor, the reason that you see them going out and talking about that is most people in this community care more about the arrest of the individual, which is really what the police do. We do not arrest the person. Then they do, what are we doing with them past that point? I meet with families all the time. I'm on the phone. I deal with people all the time who have concerns about how we're treating people once they're arrested. But if you have a concern about, which is really what's going on in this country, is more about the arrest and the streets and so forth, then I would be wasting your time and mine sitting there talking about it when I have nothing to do with the actual reason the person was arrested. I have all to do with how you're treated once you are arrested. I mean, whether that's obviously we're sued all the time. I have all sorts of issues to deal with, but I'll go anywhere and talk to anybody about the way we do it. I'm just not going to misrepresent the fact that I'm not out there affecting the crime rates at all. If people want to talk about what we can do about the problem, I have a lot of issues. Mental health is one of them. Addiction is another one. We have Republican candidates for president for the first time ever in my lifetime talking about over-incarceration, and we need to do something about it, and we do. We put people in jail and prison in this country that I don't believe belong in jail and prison. Today, it's mental health. They don't belong in jails. It's not the way to do it. There's other issues about addiction that we need to be dealing with. Tell people all the time, we have a law here that says if a person is caught in the act of prostitution and they're caught within a mile of a church or a school, they're put in jail for 7 days. And we really got tough on prostitution 10 or 15 years ago, and the legislature passed that law. That law really does no good. I mean, it's better than 7 minutes, but 7 days isn't long enough to get a woman, typically a woman, off the streets of Nashville. 7 days isn't long enough to do it. If we want to do something about prostitution, it's tied in addictions and mental health problems and abuse, and we can't do enough in 7 days to help her. It's better than 7 minutes, but let's be honest, if we're really trying to do something about it, we're not doing anything in 7 days. We don't even get her cleaned up and the needles out of her arm before we're putting her back out there. So I'm all for doing something about it, but where I think Tony's talking about, and I guess questioning why I'm not out there, I'd be misrepresenting myself. If you want me out there talking about why people are arrested and how they are arrested, that's not what we do.
It's interesting. I did think and heard from several people when that incident happened with the sign. Got several emails and stuff just saying, gosh, how much different might this have been had it been some of a different race up there. And I like to think here in Metro, the Chief Anderson's done a great job being respectful of this and following it. But I know these kinds of things can happen anywhere. I hope I'm wrong, but there were people who said if that was a black man up there or a Muslim, they would have been shot. And I don't necessarily believe that myself, but the mere fact that was brought up in some of the dialogue out there tells you where some people were thinking, and that it was different because this happened to be a Caucasian man.
Right.
We'll take a break on that note. When we come back, more of your conversation. If you're on hold, stay there. We'll get to Wanda, James, and others. We'll be back right after this.